Cheers, I do sit. How the heck are you? I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer for the purposes of this video. You had to shed the hat. I don't like wearing hats. I put it with it for one video, but I had to shed the hat for this one. Anyway, how the heck are you? Bear with me while I try to fix something real fast. There we go. Now we're back in business. All right. Make sure that worked. All right. Put this back. So countdown to Christmas. And a countdown to Christmas beer video is a countdown to Christmas whiskey video. We'll do one tomorrow as well as we get to, well, you guessed it, Christmas. So what I've decided to do here is I wanted to have a cocktail. I wanted to open a whiskey I haven't had before. But when I have a whiskey I haven't had before, I also want to drink it neat. So I poured 1.5 ounces neat, but I also made sort of a Manhattan with it. Let's call it a Manhattan-inspired cocktail. The whiskey I'm using, though, is the Ben Holiday 6-year-old Missouri Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Rickhouse Proof. Distilled fall of 2016, bottled March 23rd of 2023. Aged 6 years in new charred oak barrel. So let me show that to you. The soft red wheat version of this is incredible, but I haven't had this one yet, so I'm looking forward to it. So the Manhattan-inspired cocktail, here's what it is. We've got about 2 ounces of the whiskey. In place of the sweet vermouth, I used another product, and I can't remember where I put it. There it is. So replacing the sweet vermouth, I decided to use a wine, if you will, I picked up a while back from Peculiar Winery near Kansas City called the Dirtbag Cherry. It's a sweet cherry wine with natural chocolate flavoring. So we got cherry and chocolate going on. So I replaced the sweet vermouth with that, which is why I call it a Manhattan-inspired cocktail. Using cherry bitters and a dark cherry on the bottom there, as you can see. You have it chilled, served straight up as a Manhattan typically is. Wow, that's good. Wow. The wine by itself, in all honesty, is a little much. So I have found that I do enjoy it in the cocktails. To just drink a glass of it just doesn't make a lot of sense, right? It is 12%, though. It's a nice 12% wine. But when I use it in this capacity, it's really good because it has a little bit of cherry and chocolate without being overly sweet. And that's the thing with the Manhattan, right? You can replace, well, in my opinion, you can replace the sweet vermouth, but you have to make it make sense, right? It has to have some sweetness, but you also need some acidity to balance it out. And that's what the sweet vermouth does to a Manhattan. Oh, man, that is delicious. Kind of getting some of the flavors of the whiskey without having tried it neat yet, but because this is cold, I thought, well, I'm going to go at this backwards and drink the cocktail first. Usually I drink the neat first. So I'm looking for specific flavors and aromas, but since I've got this cocktail chilled, well, I'm going to drink the cocktail first. Anybody watching, if you have any questions or comments, just let me know. I typically answer everything. If you'd like to be part of the video, let me know, and I can send you the link if you want to pour yourself a cocktail or a couple ounces of whiskey neat and join me. Let's launch it. Peculiar Winery is very interesting. Sort of between what? I know we found them somewhere between Clinton and Kansas City, I guess. It's a wide range, Tom. Yeah, they're interesting. The stuff is very interesting. They have a lot of. It's like your craft breweries. If you know those adjunct craft breweries that are out there, it's kind of what that is, right? It's that winery that does all kinds of funky flavors. Some are good, some not. But yeah, if you want a bunch of different stuff, that's kind of the place to go. We tried a couple of things here. It wasn't necessarily our favorite place in all honesty, but there were some decent products for sure. I would certainly recommend folks going once, especially craft beer guys, right? Because a lot of craft beer guys are into those crazy adjuncts. And that's kind of the wine version of, because there are some craft breweries out there that only do adjunct beers. And that's the place I would send you to. What I'm finding interesting about this cocktail, having not tasted this whiskey by itself yet, is that trying to see what the proof on this one is. 117.9. Proof is 117.9. It blends extremely well. But trying to get rid of this cherry is one reason I decided to do this cocktail. But in some ways, using that higher proof whiskey really dries out the sweetness of the cocktail, so it seems to work. Man, that ain't bad, man. Ain't bad. Now, is it a true Manhattan? Well, of course not. But I use the idea of a Manhattan. I just took the one ingredient out. So, a Manhattan by way of Peculiar, Missouri, I guess. We'll call it the Peculiar, right? It's not a Manhattan. It's a Peculiar. Anyway, folks are Peculiar. I tell you, we did have a nice visit up there. Folks are very friendly. Again, the products are kind of a hit and miss. Not that some are bad, some are good. They're all good. Kind of depends on what your tastes are and what you're looking for. Anytime you're throwing funky flavors out there, it's going to be a hit or miss, right? Okay, I like this. Let's try this. Right? But for wine purists, no, wine purists aren't going to get the place at all. It's more for folks with a sense of whimsy. You got a sense of whimsy. Yeah, it's a great place. Anyways, I digress. Hey, how are you? Post that you're here with me. If you got any questions, comments, or if you're drinking anything in particular, let me know. Oh, mercy. So I took the remainder of the year off from my day gig. Wasn't really any need for what I do until we get to past the first of the year anyway. So I took some time off to regroup. It's been a long year, even though I had some of it off with the knee surgery. It's been very, very, very stressful year. It's been a very stressful year. Work has been stressful. Been trying to learn new things this year, and you know what they say about old dogs and new tricks. So it's a little interesting. There are some things that probably should be easy. That took me a little bit longer to pick up on than my younger counterparts, but I'll get there eventually. This takes me longer. You get a mindset after a certain age, and sometimes it's hard to adapt to a different way of doing things. But I'm giving it an honest try. uh, oh, mercy. Man, that is good. A little bit of cherry there. Yeah, it kind of makes it, like a cherry Manhattan thing going on there. Yeah. A peculiar. It's a peculiar, Tom. It's not a Manhattan. It's a peculiar. Folks at the Peculiar Winery, here's to you. Anyways, I digress. Let me finish this cocktail so I can get to my neat whiskey there, because I'm dying to try it, because I'm picking up certain flavors and aromas here that I really need to differentiate from this wine here. So anyway. So using my Holiday Glencairn, I've got 1.5 ounces. Oh, God. I was picking up a lot of vanilla in that cocktail, and I knew it wasn't from the cherry chocolate. Man, there's an intense amount of vanilla on the nose. Very oaky vanilla, if you will. Oh, man, that's gorgeous. Let me show you this bottle again here before I get going. Ben Holiday out of Weston, Missouri. I don't think I added that earlier. 6-year Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. This is a Rick House proof, small batch reserve. And again, this one is at 117.9. So that's not an extremely high proof. God, that nose is insanely good, though, I got to tell you. Get a lot of vanilla, almost like a vanilla caramel kind of nose, right? It's a very light caramel. Oh, man. Damn. Oh, biscuits. Wow, that is good. That's remarkably easy to drink at 117.90. I don't know if you were watching me there, but there was no grimace at all. Wow, that is delicious. I do feel the oak and a lot of spice right at the end, which isn't necessarily unusual, but it really gets you right there at the very finish. A little intense cinnamon, definitely some ginger, though. I'm really feeling some spicy ginger right at the end. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely delicious. That stuff is insanely good. Wow. I really love the soft red wheat. Wheated bourbons are intensely popular these days, but I got to tell you, I am, I'm kind of a traditionalist. I do love a traditional bourbon that uses rye as a secondary. Maybe that's why I'm enjoying this one as much as I am, because it is just bourbon at its very best. A whole other level over to definitely can feel this here. We'll post your comment there. Yeah, I feel you there. It's funny. Most people I work with are, 20 to 30 years my junior. So sometimes it's a different perspective. And I'm not always in all the conversations for one reason or another, but I hear different things all around me and think, man, sometimes I have to just go, okay, Tom, don't say anything. Because it's not necessarily that they're wrong, to be honest with you. I hear things, and it's not necessarily that they're wrong, is that it doesn't have, what's the word? It doesn't have the full perspective, right? It's like you're making decisions or deciding something is the way it is when you only have 2/3 of the information. Well, I've got that other third of the information. Yeah. So I could chime in and say, yeah, but you didn't factor this in. But typically I just stay out of it because they're not addressing me, I usually don't talk to the old guy, so I tend to stay to myself unless I'm specifically addressed. But see, that's it, though. It's not necessarily that somebody's perspective is wrong. It's just they don't have the information that somebody else a little bit older might have. I remember being that confident in my 20s and 30s too, thinking, okay, this is what I know. I am very sure of these things. And now that I'm the age I am, I said, okay, now I have other information. And you have to have the ability to admit when you're wrong, right? Okay, I was wrong. I didn't have made that decision with this information. I didn't realize this information existed. Now that I have that other information, I realize I was wrong. When I listen to 20 and 30 somethings talk with such confidence about certain things, and I just sit back and say, okay. Again, like I said, it's not necessarily that they're wrong, is that they may not possess all the information. Or they're looking at it from a very skewed perspective without seeing the big picture. And I think that's a lot of it, though, is we all get used to making decisions from our own bubble, from our, it's like we're walking with blinders, or we're living our life with blinders on. So we're only picking up certain amounts of information. So we make decisions based on the information we have, not realizing there's a whole lot of information out there that we're missing. So, but the thing is, everybody seems to be so confident, right? They're talking so confident about something that they only know this much about. But they're not aware that they only know this much. They think they know this much, but but they really only know this much. You learn over time the world is a great big place, and there's more perspectives than the one you grew up on. There's a whole big world that exists out there outside of your own little one. And I think it's getting harder and harder to convince folks that is true. Because folks look at their own little perspective and think, well, that's exactly the way it is in the world, and it's just not. I had a friend the other day said Americans need to travel more because they seem to have a limited perspective of the world, and that's true. I think a lot of it is ability to travel, but I just don't know that it matter either way. I think some folks are so set in how they want to believe something is. I'm not sure getting out and observing something is going to change the minds of some of these folks. I mean, it couldn't have hurt, but I'm not sure it's going to work. Because we seem to have a lot of fact-resistant people out there, right? I mean, we all have a computer at our fingertips now. Everybody's walking around with a phone. Somebody will say something, so, well, no, that's not exactly true. And so, no, it is. We each have our phone. We can pull up the information, but if we live in a world where folks don't like the information they're seeing, they just simply deny that it exists, or call it, fake or something. But the truth is, I mean, facts are the facts. There is no such thing as alternative facts, as certain people would want you to believe. The truth is always the truth. But you think once we had that ability to say, okay, we used to be having an argument, we wouldn't be able to find out who was right or wrong until later time we were able to research it. But now we're able to research it that very second, and you still have folks that will deny the truth even when they're reading it. Well, I don't believe that. Well, I'm not, I don't know what else to tell you. The fact is right here. I mean, opinion is one thing, but a fact is indisputable. A fact is a fact. But we seem to have a segment of society that wants to deny that reality exists there. I want to start singing Existential Blues. The Tom T-Bone Steak is classic. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. Anyway, Tom Tebow Steakers. Oh, that man was a genius. He had no idea that how truthful his song would become in later decades. Anyways, I digress. This whiskey is incredible. I got to tell you, it's amazing. The Glencairn, it says on the bottom. Holiday Distillery, Weston, Missouri. I do recommend going if you get a chance. It is the only place you can buy the Rick House versions of their products. Oh my God, that's just genius. This stuff is crazy good, man. I gotta tell you, this stuff is good, man. I don't care who you are. It's some tasty ass shit, man. It's just good, man. Very spicy finish. The thing is, you don't really get any burn from it at 117.9. That's rather amazing to me. A lot of big vanilla. Again, I'm going to say like a vanilla caramel, like a very light vanilla caramel. Not light flavor, but like, like color vanilla caramel. Not a burnt sugar caramel, very burnt sugar. Anyways, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, whiskey evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all right, good guys. Lodge, have a good one, guys.